Maimer from Tafshin Lametes, Shabbos Parshas Dvarim, Shabbos Chazon, the 4th of Menachem Av, 1979. So, usually the Mamarim on Parshas Dvarim have to do on the Haftorah of the Parsha, the Haftorah of the last Pasuk, and the Haftorah of Shabbos Parshas Chazon, of the Haftorah of the words Chazon Yishayo Ben Omet. It says over there, ציון במשפט תפדה, ציon will be redeemed with justice, or Torah study, as the Rebbe explains, and its captives or its returnees will come back with tzedakah. So the Rebbe explains, Muval about Drushim Divrei Masel Tzim Mishpat Tefada, which it's brought down on the Mamor. This title. And the Mamorim, I'll quote this out more Azakim, Rabbi Seinu Sienu Amalim Mekoima, it's from the Alter Rebbe, and also the Rabbeim that took his place. They also have this Mamorim on this pasuk, and it's explained. It goes into a different pasuk. It speaks about what it says in Kriyas Shema. In Kriyas Shema we say, and then it says, V'hayu hadvarim ha'elam asher anoichi mitzav chayim. It'll be these things that I'm commanding you today. So what does it mean I'm commanding you today? The Eibishter commanded us then in the Midbar by Har Sinai and so on. What does it mean he's commanding us today? Chazal said, every day it should be for you as if it is new. That's why it says, I'm commanding you today. So it should be, when I'm reading this parsha, when I'm learning Krishna, I should say to myself, I am doing the mitzvahs as if it's something new, as if Hashem just gave it to me today. Tzarech Lahavins, the Mamar asked the question, we need to understand, how is this possible? How can we do the mitzvahs as if we were just now commanded to do it? Here, the explanation this is, this pasuk that says that it should be these matters like today. It's a continuation of what it says beforehand. Shema Yisrael, and you shall love Hashem your God. What does it mean, Shema Yisrael? Shema, we know, also means not just hear, but it means understand, meditate, think into it. Through meditating, through thinking in Shema Yisrael, through this meditation, he comes to the level of you shall love Hashem. So when a person meditates on Hashem, when a person comes to love Hashem, through this, every day it will be for you like it's something new, until it will be totally new, without even the chaf that says that it's only similar to, but it's actually so. Because there's two versions in this Maimer Chazal. One version of the Maimer Chazal is B'chol Yom Yu B'nechad Kichadashim. Every day it should be for you as if it is new. And then there's a version of the Maimer Chazal that we say not just as if it's new, but there's a version of this Maimer Chazal that says that it's actually new. And that is a result of this meditation, you come to love Hashem, so then the mitzvahs are new for us every day. In continuation of the pasuk, and these matters today, it should be for you today, they am command you today. From this we derive every day, it should be for you like new. Nama, right afterwards it says, you should teach them to your children. You shall speak in them. You shall bind them upon your hands, upon your head. You shall write them on your houses, on your doorposts. And these three psukim, it's hinted the three types of service: Torah study, fulfillment of mitzvahs, and the avodah that all your actions should be for the sake of heaven, and all your ways you should know him. In other words, everything else that is not Torah study and it's not fulfillment of mitzvahs. Mishinantam goimer, vidibarta bam goimer, toy aleis ka Torah. when it talks about that you shall teach them, you shall speak in them, it's talking about the study of Torah. But the Torah, like the Mefarshim explained, that when this pasuk says "V'shinantam v'dibartam," it's referring to the words of Torah. Where it says you shall bind them, mitzvahs is referring to mitzvahs. Why is it referring to the fulfillment of mitzvahs? Chazal say, the entire Torah was compared to tefillin. Now, what does it mean the entire Torah is compared to tefillin? What does it mean, Torah? The mitzvah Torah, the intention. When it says all of the Torah is likened and compared to tefillin, it's referring not to Torah study. It's referring to the mitzvahs of the Torah. So all the mitzvahs of the Torah are compared to the mitzvah of putting on tefillin. So now we see that the second pasuk is referring to the fulfillment of mitzvahs. So because tefillin is symbolic of and is compared to all the mitzvahs. So the Rebbe says an interesting thing. What about the writing the mezuzahs on and placing it on your doorpost? He says, in this, it's hinted also the avoided that all your actions should be for the sake of heaven and all your ways you should know him. How come? Where do we see that? Because you're putting the mezuzahs upon your house and your gates. Shagam al mezuzahs beisecha ubisharecha. Also on the doorpost of your house and your gates. Yiu kvuyas haparsha v'haim shema. It should be set and established the parshas of the Torah of. It'll be if you listen, and then if you listen to Hashem, so the resulting thing will be by days that Yahweh Yishmer Tzeis Kaviyach Me'at V'Adolam. The Rabbi will protect and guard your goings and comings from now forever. It's drawing down the protection of Avaya and drawing down Hashem in all of his permitted matters, your goings, your comings. So therefore, the third pasuk that talks about putting mezuzahs on your doorposts indicates the idea of making all your goings and comings, all your involvements, all your things permeated a realization that you're doing it for the sake of heaven. Moving for this is understood. Also the idea that every day should be for you like new, or actually new. That's derived from the pasuk will be these things. That I'm commanding you today. It's referring to all the three things that are in continuation to V'hoya Advarim, meaning the newness refers to everything we just now spoke about. Shekol, next page. Shekol inyanim elu, limud ha'Torah v'kiyum ha'mitzvos v'avodah b'chol v'sechol shem shemayim. Whether it's the study of Torah, whether it's the fulfillment of mitzvahs, or the avodah in all your actions, it should be for the sake of heaven, and all your ways you should know them. They have to be as if they are new. It's explained in the Maimer entitled Tziyun b'mishpat tefda, the Tzemach Tzedek shekavonos hakasav b'tziyun b'mishpat tefda gomer. The intention of the pasuk when it says that Tziyun will be redeemed with mishpat, he loyal ir Tziyun is not on the city of Tziyun. Tziyun is another name for Yerushalayim, but ki'im al Yisrael, rather it's referring to the Yidden shnikroim Tziyun that are called Tziyun. It is a Yerushalmi al pasuk that's brought down in the Yerushalmi. On the pasuk, it says as follows: "Va'osim dvarai b'ficha." Hashem says, "I place my words in your mouth. Ubitzel yodai kisisicha, and in the shadow of my hand, I have covered you. Lidtoya shemayim, to plant the heavens, v'lisoid aretz, and to found the earth. V'leimer l'tzion amiata, and to say to Tzion that you are my nation." So the Yerushalmi says about this pasuk, Chazarnu al kol mikra. We reviewed the entire Tanakh. V'loy matzanu shenikru Yisrael Tzion elazeh. And we did not find that Yidden are called Tzion only over here, where it says V'leimer l'Tzion amiata. Here it's explicitly referring to the Yidden. It's calling Tzion. He's saying my nation. Shenamar, like it says V'leimer l'Tzion amiata. He says to say to Tzion, you are my nation. So the Rebbe brings from the Tzemach Tzedek, what you saw the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Tzemach Tzedek explains, through the three matters that's in this pasuk, according to how the Rishalmi explains it, I will place my words in your mouth. That's referring to Torah. Hashem's words in our mouth, that's the words of Torah. And the shadow of my hand, I have covered you. The Yerushalmi says it goes on doing acts of kindness, because it's ideal like a hand assisting and helping. That Gemilas Chasadim and doing acts of kindness is the general aspect of all mitzvahs. We know Tanya explains that mitzvahs are like garments. That's why it says, Kisisicha, I have covered you, like a garment covers the person. Makifim. They are the encompassing levels of godliness that surround the person that fulfills them. And according to what's explained in Tanya, also from the breath of the speech of Torah is also created a makif like. Tanya over there explains that mitzvahs are garments, mitzvahs are makif, and the Torah is internalized, so it's likened to food. But the Alter Rebbe says that Torah also has the makif to it, because from the breath, from the air that I expel and I exhale when saying the words of Torah, it becomes a makif light. So therefore, when it says B'tzel Yodai Kisisicha, and the idea of garments that's covering is not just mitzvahs, but also, therefore, also the speech of Torah is also included in what it says in the shadow of my hand I have covered you. And the final thing that it says in the pasuk, it's to plant the heavens and to found the earth. These go on the karbanos. Chazal teach that through karbanos, the laws and rules of heavens and earth remain. If not for the karbanos, the world would cease to have its strength and power, and the rules of nature would fall apart. We know Torah and Avodah, which is Karbanis, and Gemilas Chasadim, these are the three lines that upon them the word stands and exists. Is Hinai De Kiyum Gimel Dvarim Elu, through fulfilling these three things, Torah, Avodah, and the Karbanis, Torah, Avodah, and Gemilas Chasadim, Yisrael and B'chinas Tzion, Yidden are a level of Tzion, even though normally Tzion is not something that applies to the Yidden. Now the Rebbe is going to explain what is the concept of Tzion and what does it have to do with the Yid. Now the idea of Tzion is explained in the above mentioned Mamardim. It's referring to the core of the heart, the inner level of the heart. That's called Tzion. And as we translate, Tzion is extraordinary, special. So that's the inner part of the heart, the pnimius halev. That the level of Tzion, the Arizal writes, is the level that it says, we say this in Aseres Meitshuva, out of the depth I call you. That the Tzion is not just the pnimius halev, but it's the depth, that's a double depth, as we'll soon going to explain. Why is it saying Memakim in the plural from the depth? In the plural, in every Yid, there is the spark of the core of the neshama that's created. And in that spark of the core of the neshama, there's enclosed the spark of the creator. That spark of the created being, that's the level of the yechida of the nefesh. That receives from Hashem, who's called the only one. So that is the mamakim, that's the depth, that's the level of Tziyun. Yidden are called Tziyun from the word sign, a mark. That's what a Tziyun means, a mark. Ana simona ba'alma. The Rashbi said, I am only a mark, I'm only a sign, I'm only an indication. And we're soon going to explain the significance of being a Tziyun, only a mark. Because from the perspective of Yechida, their entire existence is only a sign for matters of above. What does this mean? In addition to the fact that from the perspective of Yechida, they have their existence is powerful and with a full force. Their existence is what they are. They are a sign of the matters of above. They are not an independent existence. They are completely bottled to above, that all their entire purpose and entire being is only an expression of above. It might be like, for example, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, that about Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai it says that he was told, with this sefer of yours, in other words, the Zohar, Yafkun Bey Min Galusa, the Yidden will leave because of the Zohar, with the teachings of the Zohar, out of the Galus. And even more so, they will leave the Galus in a state of mercy. In other words, in an easy state, not with a lot of suffering and so on. The meaning behind that statement is through the spreading of the well springs of the inner part of the Torah, and not just spreading the Zohar, but specifically the way the teachings and the well springs of the inner part of the Torah was enclosed in the teachings of Chassidus Chabad. How come? Maybe it just means everybody should pick up a copy of the Zohar and study it. So the Rebbe says, like the exact expression that says in Tikkunei Zohar, they will be sustained from this book of yours. Parnasa means something that is well elaborated, well explained, well understood. And the Zohar and Kabbalah, without the explanation of Chassidus Chabad, remains aloof. It's not yisparnisness. It's not something that can sustain us. It's not something that can be internalized. So only through the Pnimis HaTorah, the way it's enclosed in Torah's Chassidus Chabad, will that be the instrument for getting us out of Golus. And what did the Rashbi say? Sha'amar, he said, Is Chad va'anahu. He said about the level, it says about Bnei Aliyah, the Alter Rebbe brings down Tanya, if there's only one Bnei Aliyah, elevated people, so that's I. The Chsiv, Tzaddik Yesod Olam. Like it says that Tzaddik is the foundation of the world. And it doesn't just mean he is the foundation upon which this world sits upon, but more so, he was the foundation of all the worlds. So on the one hand, it shows on his powerful existence. He is the foundation of the world. He says he's the only one that's the Bnei Aliyah. But together with that, still more, he said, I'm only a sign. I'm only a mark. I'm only an indication of above. So it seems to be very interesting. On the one hand, he was completely without Metzias. He's only a sign. On the other hand, we're saying, no, he is such a powerful existence. All the world stand upon him. How can both those things be together? because his existence is the existence of godliness. Who is the face of the master Avaya? That goes on Reb Shimon ben Yochai. In other words, Reb Shimon ben Yochai had no separate identity than Hashem. He completely identified with Hashem. Now the Rebbe extends this and says this is not just the Rashbi that could be the Sibon on Hashem and be with full force like Hashem, but this is also every Yid is called Tziyun. Similar to this could be on every single Yid. Even by someone that is only called Yisrael, because of Leimer Litzian Amiata, like the pasuk says exactly. He says to Tzion, "You are my nation." So the idea of a nation shows on a lower level. The Gam Elu Shem Bechinas Ami Meloshin Gecholim Oim is also those that are a level of my nation, meaning they are like coals, they are like extinguished coals. Which shows on a very low level, it's darkened coals and so on. And Tzion v'Siman, they're still a sign for Hashem. So even those that are level of Ami, even the lowest level of Yid, even the Yid that's only called by the name Yid, but he doesn't have any identification with it, he is also called Tzion. The simple meaning of Tzion b'Mishpat is Should Tzion koi al ir Tzion. That Tzion is referring to the city of Tzion. V'gam pirish zayesh l'kasher makosov l'ntoya shmayim v'lisid aretz v'leimer Tzion. We could also connect this with the pasuk that says to plant the heavens, to found the earth, and to say to Tzion, Yavoidas hakarbonis, the service of offering the sacrifices, which we connected before, l'ntoya shmayim v'lisid aretz. That's connected with planting the heavens and to found the earth. Luya Beis Hamikdash Dafka is dependent specifically on the Beis Hamikdash. The Agam Shat Tfilah Shem Keneged Karbonis actually is Bechol Malkim, though the tefillahs that correspond to Karbonis. Davening is in the place of Karbonis, and davening can be everywhere. The nice of the Shagam is Manabai, so Mispalim Bechol Malkim, in addition to the fact that also in the times of the Beis Hamikdash they davened everywhere. But then the tefillahs in the time of the Beis Hamikdash was not in the place of the Karbonis. It was an addition to the Karbonis. But also in the Gama tefillahs, the Akshav, also the tefillahs at present. Shame b'mokmar Karbonis, that they are in the place of Karbonis. Still in all, they do not have the limitations that Karbonis had. Yecholos liyos b'chol malkim, they're able to be everywhere. Gam b'chutz la'aretz, even outside of Eretz Yisrael. V'afilu apinu nidachas, even in a far away corner, far-flung corner. Why is that so? That's because what we draw down through davening is not so revealed, so it can be anywhere. As opposed to karbonis, that what was drawn down was openly revealed. That fire descended from heaven upon the Mizbeach. And to such a degree was that so much revealed that Paul Gam Bachilos Koyanim, Bachilos Bailim, this affected also the Koyanim that ate from the carbon, and this affected also the owners that ate from the carbon. In Egilizet, totally based on Migdash Dafke. This revelation is dependent specifically on the base of Migdash. Though there's an advantage in quality in the avoid of the time of Golus, and especially the time right before Mashiach comes, known as the heel of the Mashiach, when we can hear Mashiach's footsteps. Like it's known what it says in the pasuk, it says Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble man from every person upon the face of the earth. So the Chazal explain that Moshe Rabbeinu's humility was primarily from the service of the Yidden and the generation of the heels of Mashiach. It says that Moshe witnessed Hashem's midah of truth. So therefore, he was about truth, and nothing that he did or experienced was in any way untrue. moving is that's understood from this Shekenu be'emes that this was really so that what his humility that he felt before our generation was a true evaluation of what we're doing in our generation. There's an advantage in the avoid of the heels of Mashiach's times, the generation of the heels of Mashiach over the avoid of Moshe Rabbeinu. To such a degree that Moshe is considered receiving from the generation of the heels of Mashiach. Like it says, the 600,000 legs of the people that I'm amongst them. The bechinas anoichi shemer v'Moshe. The reason why anoichi Hashem Elokecha shines into Moshe. That's what it means anoichi b'kirbay. The anoichi is within Moshe Rabbeinu. Why they ragli ha'am is through the foot soldiers, through the people that are only the feet. And we know that our generation is the heels of the feet. So we are the cause of Moshe Rabbeinu having a noichi come down into him. Despite that fact that our generation has all these qualities, still in all the Karbonis had a special quality in times of the base of Migdash. Inyan Goli, Inyan Hagili V'Poyel, Mamish Lavois Karbonis Begashmi is the actual revelation is when you have the avoid of the Karbonis and the physical specifically, the Giluzet told you based on Migdash, and this revelation is dependent on the base of Migdash. That's the connection between what it says to plant the heavens, to found the earth. These are going into Karbonis. It's through them the laws of heaven and earth are solidified. The Tzion's Yerushalayim, that's the connection with the city of Tzion, that's Yerushalayim, because it's not just meaning the nation of Tzion, but also the city of Tzion. Because the Beis HaMikdash, that's a home for Hashem, ready to offer up in it Karbonis, is specifically in Yerushalayim. So it's understood why in that pasuk where it speaks about the Karbonis, it uses the word Tzion, hinting also at the city of Yerushalayim. Last paragraph, Shaf became, despite the great quality of Karbonis, all the B'ritzonius Baruch Sheyachra Abayis V'Yisrael Yu B'Golus. It arose in His will that the Beis Mikdash should be destroyed and Yidden should be in Golus. B'frat b'Ikus the Mashiach, especially the heels of Mashiach. Shemitzad Riba and Yisyonis Menias V'Yikuvim V'Cholum, because the many tests and obstacles and so on. Klolos avoida oz gamma avoida Torah mitzvah bedugmas hatshuva. The general avoida in the time of Golus, because of all these tests, even the avoida of Torah mitzvahs is similar to tshuva, because tshuva is about dealing with challenges. And since we have so many challenges in our Torah mitzvahs, so even Torah mitzvahs is like tshuva. It refines also the sparks that fell very low, which is the uniqueness of tshuva, that even if a person did an aveda through the appropriate tshuva, he can elevate those sparks. And all the descents that were for the sake of an ascent, was for the sake of the avodah in the heels of the generation of Mashiach, the generation of the heels of Mashiach. It's our present generation. He established a testimony in Yankov and the Torah he placed in Yidden, so that the final generation should know. What is the final generation? Our present generation. It's the final generation of Golus and the first generation of Gula. David speedily it will come and arise a king from the house of David. Even the Mikdashim Kaimi, who build the base Mikdash in his place. He will gather all the scattered Yidden. Also, those sparks that fell very low. Even those sparks that are in the way of being far flung, will be refined and elevated. Will be for Hashem, will be the rain. In the true and complete redemption with Mashiach speedily in our time.
Amen.
Amen.